Standing by from the Pacific Palisades Fire Zone, and Rachel Minitoff will show us the conditions in the Eaton Fire Zone. But we're going to start with Kai Goldberg. He has a look at your first forecast. Kai?
Well, thanks very much, Glenn and Karine. Well, greetings, everybody. And now here in the lunch hour, I want to wish you all a good afternoon. We're seeing showery conditions throughout much of Southern California. That's a live look from our Mount Wilson camera. Of course, showers on the lens, even at those higher elevations. This is not by any means a snow event that is here in Southern California. The atmosphere just a little bit too warm. However, we are seeing those showers, and we'll get a closer look at some of the areas that are picking up a little bit of some light precipitation on your 5 Live Max Doppler through the Grapevine, a little bit further south towards the Simi Valley area. Then we'll take you out towards the eastern side of the LA Basin as we make our way through Montebello, Hacienda Heights, Monrovia, Pasadena, Altadena. They're picking up, again, very light precipitation, so I'm not concerned with the Eaton Fire burn scar area. Then we'll make our way out to the coast, and this is right there on the Ventura LA County line. You can see that moisture beginning to pick up, but again, not heavy. Then we'll make our way towards the Pacific Palisades. We're just seeing some sprinkle conditions as we take a look into that particular area for the time being. However, things could change as we make our way through the next couple of days. Chance of some more moderate rainfall, and any rainfall we can get could be dangerous for that Pacific Palisades burn scar area. And for more on how residents are preparing, I want to turn you over to our KTLA's Lauren Lister. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Kai. Yeah, just as you mentioned, we are getting sprinkles here in the Palisades fire burn area. Nonetheless, a lot of concerns about the hillsides, and so PCH closes here at Chautauqua, and that closure continues into Malibu. Essential workers only because of concerns over potential debris flows from the burnt hillsides. Residents with passes can still get into the neighborhood at Chautauqua. Otherwise, you're going to get turned around. We just saw a car get turned around right now. Take a look at this. Rain overnight, but not particularly heavy, but officials say it doesn't matter. Some hillsides are unstable even without the moisture. We drove PCH and some of the Palisades burn area and captured the K-rails in place and other methods that are being used to divert water to where it's meant to flow. LA County Public Works telling us crews are working around the clock during these storms, clearing debris, protecting the storm drain system, as well as the ocean from ash, and monitoring the burn areas. Officials at a press conference this morning saying the rain has behaved as expected overnight and this morning, but more rain, as Kai mentioned, is expected later this week, Thursday into Friday. Public Works saying their concerns aren't just one rainstorm, but the cumulative effect of rainy days. And as Public Works assesses the damage from both the Eaton and Palisades fire and see just how much has occurred, officials say it is staggering.
Whether it's along PCH or it's up the canyon roads in the city of Malibu, the level of destruction and the scope of this damage is beyond anything that we have seen here in LA County in terms of infrastructure. And I would say, and you're hearing nationally, many of my colleagues around the country are also agreeing, it's probably one of the largest natural disasters and specifically damage to infrastructure seen in the United States.
So a lot of work ahead, and despite the rain today, I can tell you driving around, we still see all of the DWP crews and other utility crews and contractors out continuing their work despite the precipitation. According to the city of LA, the National Weather Service predicts debris flows are not likely during the storm, but in the burn area, officials say now is the time to start preparing your property. You can pick up sandbags from many local fire stations. Back out here live, take a look. People, dare I say, listen to our last report. The traffic has really cleared up. There is not a line of cars. People are getting the memo about PCH. This closure goes from here at Chautauqua to Carbon Beach Terrace in Malibu. It's going to continue through at least Friday. That's when geologists will assess the situation and figure out next steps and whether it's safe to reopen. Also, there is a hotline on your screen. That is a helpful number in case you have any problems in the burn area during the storm. It is the LA County Public Works Emergency Dispatch number. So write that down, screenshot it, and use it if you need it during this storm or any other. That's the latest live here in Pacific Palisades. I'm Lauren Lister. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Now to the Eaton fire burn area. K-rails and sandbags placed ahead of the storm have prevented any mudslides so far.
And this comes as those recovery efforts continue. KTLA's Rachel Minitoff live in Pasadena with all the details. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Karine. Hi, Glenn. Yes, the concerns here very similar to those in the Palisades. The mud and the debris flow from these hillsides, which don't have much reinforcement. The Office of Emergency Management, they have been putting filters into the storm drains to try to prevent things like heavy metals and asbestos from getting into the water. We spoke to a longtime Pasadena resident of 42 years whose home was miraculously spared, but now he has to contend with smoke damage and this unpredictable weather. Listen.
Obviously, we have no vegetation. We don't have any trees that might hold the rocks, and now it's all that, dust and rocks. So if we have a heavy rain, we are concerned that rocks will be landing on our homes. Hopefully not. We are talking about light rain today, tomorrow, and I don't think that will be dangerous if it stays like that.
The county today also announced a major milestone. Some parts of Pasadena Altadena will move from phase 1 debris removal into phase 2. Phase 2 debris will move forward at properties that have already been cleared by the EPA. Officials said today that this is tangible progress. Phase 2 involves clearing fire-damaged properties. And for the next few days, of course, these cleanup efforts are on hold because of the rain. Something else I do want to mention, there's been some confusion about the Pasadena shelter at the convention center. Currently, there is no specific timeline for its closure, but the Red Cross is committed to working with anyone who is displaced.
The American Red Cross does not close sheltering operations until we have worked with every person in the shelter on their personalized shelter resident transition plan. We work with them to make sure that they have a plan going forward toward their new normal. We do not leave anyone out hanging without information or without alternatives. And until that point is reached, we will not close the shelter. And we are now in a transitioning phase in which we'll continue our sheltering operations and all services involved as we provide these for these people until we have a clear plan for their path going forward.
The Red Cross says when this location does indeed close, it's going to provide transportation and access to a new shelter. It says no one will be stranded. That's the very latest from Pasadena. I'm Rachel Menitoff. Karine, Glenn, back to you.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A class action lawsuit is being filed against a California Department of Corrections gynecologist. He's being accused of abusive examinations. At a news conference, attorneys say Dr. Scott Lee violated several women while working at a state prison in Chino.
The vast majority of those incarcerated in California's women's prisons are already survivors of domestic abuse, violence, and sexual violence. This is a vulnerable population, and CDCR did nothing to protect those incarcerated in their care.
The things that Dr. Lee did to me personally were horrific in a way that I will never forget them.
And some of those plaintiffs spoke anonymously and remotely at today's news conference. 70-year-old Lee works at the California Institution for Women in Chino. Attorneys for 6 plaintiffs say that the alleged abuse date back to 2016. They also claim that inmates who crossed Lee faced retaliation as well as denial of care. No word from Lee about the allegations, but prison officials say he no longer has in-person contact with patients.
A stunning proposal by President Trump is causing worldwide reaction today. The president wants the United States to take over the Gaza Strip, saying the Palestinians should leave their land.
The U.S. would then own Gaza, and Trump says that it could become the Riviera of the Middle East. Our Samantha Cortese joins us live with more. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Karine and Glenn. Today, the White House says the president has not committed troops to Gaza following that shocking announcement from President Trump that the United States would be involved in rebuilding the Gaza Strip.
Israeli people have endured.
With Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by his side, President Trump suggested the U.S. cannot let Iranian-funded terror groups run Gaza any longer. So the U.S. must get involved in rebuilding the Gaza Strip.
We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings.
The president also said 2 million people living in Gaza will have to live elsewhere. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt this morning saying the president did not mean permanently.
They need to be temporarily relocated out of Gaza for the rebuilding of this effort. Again, it's a demolition site right now. It's not a livable place for any human being. And I think it's actually quite evil to suggest that people should live in such dire conditions.
Leavitt also said the rebuilding would not be with American taxpayer dollars. And the president has been on the phone with neighboring countries about a multi-country occupation. The UN envoy for Palestine reacted to the news overnight, rejecting President Trump's suggestion.
Our country and our home is the Gaza Strip. It's part of Palestine. We have no home. For those who want to send them to a happy, nice place, let them go back, to their original homes inside Israel. There are nice places there, and they will be happy to return to these places.
Many Palestinians living in Gaza are descendants of people who left homes in Israel during the 1948 war after Israel's independence.